Comerica Park is going to have some of their dimensions that will be changing. And it was a huge talking point for baseball fans across the state of Michigan and maybe across the baseball world as well, as the Detroit Tigers have. If you're watching on YouTube on the stream, Michigan Sports Network, or if you're watching on BCSN, here's the deal: the center field fence is going to move in 10 feet and be at 412 feet, which is interesting because what was it listed at before?
It's been 420 since they opened Comerica Park.
So now there's more accurate
Now they're claiming
lasers.
Yeah, now they're claiming that it's moving in 10 feet to 412.
Something doesn't add up here. It's very mischievous. Very mischievous. The center field wall will lower from 8.5 feet down to 7 feet. Right center field's wall will go from 13 to 7 feet, and then the right field wall will drop from 8.5 to 7 feet as well. So a lot of changes to the right-hand side of the ballpark, and they're going to move it into 412 feet down the middle, which is interesting because 420 to center field is pretty. That's pretty deep. There's not too many parks that have 420 to center field. You have Minute Maid Park in Houston that's 435, Fenway that's 420. Comerica Park will now be 412 feet moving forward. But just about every team in the league, just about, is right around 400. That extra 6-7 yards plays kind of a big role. And then Minute Maid Park in Houston, like 435, it's just insane. There's actually a website, ballparksofbaseball.com.
Yeah, but they
where you
have
can compare all of the dimensions, the cost of the building, the capacity. You can literally compare everything you want to about a Major League Baseball field.
But in Houston, they're also like, I mean, it's like 250 down the left field line to hit it into those boxes. So, yeah, it's deep in center, but it's easy down the line.
According to this, 315 to left, 326 to right field. If you are looking at it going straight down the lines themselves. 412 to center field in Detroit, 345 to the left field fence, 330 to the right field fence. The rule book states that any park constructed by a professional team after June 1st of 1958, which, common era plus some years, I suppose, must have a minimum distance of 325 feet between home plate and the nearest fence, stand, or other obstruction on the right and left field foul lines. So it's got to be a minimum of 325 to the wall, down the lines, and 400 feet between home plate and the nearest fence, stand, or obstruction in center. It seems kind of far. So there is a general guideline here as to how to build a ballpark, right? We know that there's 90 feet between.
Well, they're basically trying to make it so that a team can't build a Fenway Park, where it's, we only have a certain distance because we're putting this on a city block. So instead of making it whatever distance, we're just going to, put a 35-foot wall. That's basically what this rule, you're not allowed to make a Fenway Park anymore. You're not allowed to make a Polo Grounds anymore where it's,
8,000 feet to center field.
It's 600 feet to center field and 220 down the lines. Like, that's not allowed anymore.
In Fenway, when you start to look at like the oldest parks, Fenway built in 1912, Wrigley Field 1914. Everything else after that, Dodger Stadium is the next oldest, is the third oldest in Major League Baseball, being built in 1962. So they're 330 to left, 300 to right, and 400 to center field. So there are a couple of quirks, even though that there is a field dimension, 325 from home plate to the nearest fence down the right and left field line. There are a couple exceptions to this rule across Major League Baseball. I, for one, as we look back, and somebody went through and dug out all of the there were 11 balls and 3 of them were hit by Riley Green. Somebody went through and pulled the video from the Tiger season last year of all the balls that quote unquote would have been home runs under the new dimensions at Comerica Park. I, for one, am a fan of a standardization of what it may be. Now, if there is
we get it. You want everything to be the same. You want everyone to get a trophy. You want everyone's taxes to be the same. We get it. You want the communization of sports. I understand, Anthony. We've heard you talk for years on the show, and that's exactly your personality.
Well, I don't mind everybody paying a flat tax. I'm good with that. 20% is 20%. I'm cool with that. Because at the end of the day, 20% of Bezos' money, it's going to be the same equal percentage of 20% of somebody like you or I. 20% is 20%. So I'm good with a flat tax. I'm cool with that. I don't believe in a whole lot.
Everyone gets a trophy, and
I don't believe in a whole lot of government stipend programs. It's not really my style. I don't think that everybody deserves a trophy. I'm okay if you play in a 10, 12-man fantasy league and you third place gets their money back and second place doubles up and first place takes it all, takes the rest. But I'm okay if you have a league where only first place gets paid. I don't believe that you should hand out medals and trophies to youth sports just for people participating. I don't think you should hang a banner for a division in college sports when that was a thing. I don't think that an appearance into a CIT or a CBI is worth a banner. I don't think an appearance into an NIT is worth a banner. That's just me, though. That's just me. But one thing I find very interesting about baseball is that golf is really the only sport where you're playing both the field of competition and the individual track itself, right? So you're playing the course and you're playing the opponent. But every other sport, everything is the same. And it's not as if I'm asking something it's completely outrageous to where it could never be done. Because when you sit down and you look at the actual dimensions of every ballpark in Major League Baseball, they're all kind of relatively the same. There are some funky and quirky designs. I would put Comerica Park in there. The way that there's some right angles that are built into the wall. Fenway, obviously. You go out to Texas and play the Rangers, and they got that little grassy knoll back there in center field.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they had to level it because you can't run up. Fenway's got that
You're thinking of Houston. I say Texas, the Rangers, they have the brand new stadium.
Brand new stadium in Texas. If you go out to Fenway Park, you have that kind of quirky cutout that's like right center field. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think Comerica Park is going to look a little like that with the way lower fences in right field.
Now, are they actually going to lower the fence, or are they just going to draw a line on the fence? I guess that's really the next question in right field.
Oh no, they're moving it. You, gosh, who was it? That one of the writers were out actually on the field yesterday, and there's a spray painted line of where the new fence will be, and it's about, I would say, a foot closer in right field. They don't actually say that. Maybe they do on the graphic, but yeah, the fence is like a foot closer in right field this year.
Okay, because I was worried if they were just going to draw lines, because there are some parks where they're like
there's weird lines.
The Angels Stadium, where they redrew the line of their big wall in right field, where they drew a line halfway down, and that just leads to annoying reviews of home runs.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Right. So that was my concern of just like we're lowering the wall. But I think the Tigers, honestly, they're just cowards. You should have pushed the walls back. Should have built more walls.
Build more walls. I didn't expect that to be said here on this program this morning. But if that's what you want, then I can't try to
just build the highest wall you can. Keep the balls in your stadium.
There's my next question. If you could pop that back up on the screen for our viewership, whether at YouTube or on BCSN. Here's my question. What do you want for Comerica Park? Do you want it to be as you take a look at the graphic now, this is directly from the Tigers. And when they lower the wall, like in right center field, I'm wondering if you just lower the wall, what are you going to do there with the bleachers? Like, what are you going to do with the seating? How does that work out? I've got some questions about that.
I just sent you the photos of it's Evan Petzold, our
Love
friend.
That guy.
You can see the lines
Great hair
on the field of where the new wall in right field will be.
So when they build that in, and I see it's like a pink chalk line here. When they decide to do that, how does that like change what that right field setup? So the picture in the middle there on the graphic from the Tigers, how does that change what the seating is going to be like there? And then also, what do you want Comerica Park to be? Do you want more offense? Do you want more balls over the fence? Like, are you tired of watching Tigers, fly out in the warning track and warning track power?
What does it say the fence is going to be there in right center? I would
to 7 feet, so probably right where the
right at the top of the scoreboard.
Yeah,
There's going to be some robberies out there.
And that was part of, I believe what Scott Harris said yesterday. Is want people to have a chance to rob home runs. But also, it's like you built this park and decided, like, we're gonna field a power team that's just gonna fly out to the deepest part of the ballparks.
So, what do you want Comerica Park to be?
It's whatever Comerica Park is. I want a GM that's gonna build a team that caters to your home park.
That would be nice.
Like, if you have these huge gaps in right and left center, especially right center, maybe find some people that will hit it that way and have a little speed.
Well, I think that's what this whole thing is about getting left-handed power hitters in here. We haven't had one since Prince Fielder. So that's what they know they need to get a left-handed power bat if they want to succeed.
Well, it will be very interesting to see if the dimensions, if it makes a noticeable difference right away. If we go a couple weeks into the season and there's really not a whole lot of activity, like there isn't, a couple of robberies early to where you're really starting to draw some attention to that fence out there, then I think, it's like, oh, okay. But if they come out and this thing really pops and it's just ball after ball after ball that's getting, guys are jumping up, climbing the fence. You're seeing them on Sports Center, flip over the wall. Land in that area, fans reaching over, getting involved. You got the Tigers finally hitting for power out there. Then I think that it'll make a noticeable difference, and people will really be talking about. Outside of that,
the Tigers aren't necessarily the first seed. Baltimore just did this last year. They moved their left field wall in and actually raised the wall in left field, and they saw a spike in home runs from their players. Yes, it goes both ways, but they're just like, hey, our guys keep flying out to left field. Let's just move it in just a bit.
Just a wee bit. And we'll see if that makes a difference. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't think that I'm a communist by any stretch, but I think that 100 yards is 100 yards is 100 yards, and that's goal line to goal line. And there's 10 yards of end zone on each side, so the entire field's 120 yards. It's 94 feet to play shooty hoops, and there's nothing worse than when you're coaching youth basketball and you got one court that's huge, and you get the next gym you play in, there's a wall like half a foot away from the sideline. It's like, how are we even going to play here?